So usually when I have something that wants to move, or after I'm done avoiding an emotional episode, I'll have this feeling like my leg is restless. It's like it feels almost like a little electric jolt, and it feels almost like a cramp coming on, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like
Which leg?
the right one.
Right one. Okay, go ahead.
So the right one. So it feels that way. It's almost like, and if I allow it to continue, it's almost like it creeps in, and then just takes control
Uh-huh.
of the body, and then that's when I start having the shaking all over, and it comes obviously with
So you
emotional.
so you're very emotional and your body is shaking. It starts in the thigh or the calf or
It
where?
starts exactly on the bottom of the calf to the right side. It's almost like it almost feels like cramping, like an electrical kind of cramping, like right before it's gonna cramp.
And does that shoot up your leg then?
It can shoot up the leg, but what happened is it'll stiffen out all the muscles. Then it stiffens out.
Oh, you just go stiff like.
Correct. And it starts to get really stiff, and the stiff creates. It's almost like it squeezes it out of me. It'll squeeze everything,
Go on.
and then once
So describe what happens.
so I get squeezed, and it just gets paralyzed. Then I'm paralyzed, and it has complete control of my body, and then that's when the imaging of the release starts to happen. And it's violent in a way that's violent inside, but on the outside I'm just stiff and solid.
Okay. So all the violence and the turmoil is inside you, but anyone looking at you sees you almost like you're frozen.
Yes, frozen, but like dehydrated, like when you're all tensed up, and like I'm fighting it to get it off
Hmm.
of me, but I can't.
So do you end up crying
I end up crying,
or
shaking.
saying anything? You do cry and
I
shake
cry and
together.
shake, but usually the emotion's so intense that it doesn't. I usually don't speak. It is usually just uncontrollable. I don't want to say sad.
Boo-hoo?
Yeah, and I don't want to say sadness because it's like too light of a term. It's almost like extremely painful. It's physic. At that
Yeah.
point, it becomes physically painful.
So see if you can think about it and tell me what emotions do you think is happening at that point in time?
Usually, there's terror, fear. Depending on from the work that I've been doing, depending on the emotion that's being released or the scenario that I'm accessing, it depends. Sometimes
Hmm.
it's just extreme fear and panic. Sometimes it's just like today, this morning, there's just a lot of hopelessness. Sometimes there's a lot of violence, like against my body, like this physical violence. I can feel the violence. I can feel like the pain of the hit. I can feel like the cut. I can feel the burn. I can feel it, and I can feel the physical pain.
And how long does this last usually?
Well, now it only lasts. Well, this morning it only lasted maybe I would say 10 to 15 minutes, but those used to go on for um, anywhere from 5 to 6 minutes to like 30 or 40 minutes. Usually will last about 20 to 30 minutes.
And is that the episodes that you would end up in bed over for days?
Yeah, because they would continue to cycle. I would come out of one, then I'd be released, but then and then 4 hours I would relapse again. And then I would get another one. It would happen like if it's really bad, it would happen like every 20 minutes. And
Hmm.
they can go on for days.
Okay. See, I didn't know this was connected to those. Okay. So tell me, okay, let's see. Do we want to let's go to the one this morning.
Okay.
And what emotions would you say was with it? What were you feeling with
That
it?
that one was 100% hopelessness, desolation. Um, that's what got me in there. That's what I was feeling. And when it turns that dark, that's when I start getting the suicidal thoughts. That's when it starts
Right.
to what this self harm comes into, like um, that is a suggestion or like a solution to end that. It's like just wanting
Hmm.
to end that episode, wanting to end the pain. That's how that ends up being brought up as a alternative.
And what kind of physical things did you feel with this one this morning?
With this one, I wasn't there physically. I was there emotionally.
Okay.
So there
Okay.
was no physical.
So sometimes it can be either or it can be both
Now,
sometimes.
now it's easier because it's not either or. It's just I haven't had a lot of the physicalities attached to them.
Okay.
Probably for the last year. The first year that we were working together, they all had them all the time.
And so now it's just more the emotion is
Yes.
what you're saying
Yes.
instead of physical stuff. Okay. So what I think is happening is your body is allowing this stored emotion to go out in kind of cycles.
Mm-hmm.
So you felt the physical part. Now we're moving to the harder part, which would be the emotions of it.
Oh.
Making sense?
Yeah.
But I'm also picking up, I mean, I know you've had extreme traumas in this life, but I'm picking up this is past life stuff too. And if you give thought to what we know about your past lives, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been times when you were instantly, you instantly left your body for various different reasons, and that emotion and stuff never got healed in that lifetime, so you've been carrying that over.
So emotion stores from lifetime to lifetime?
Oh, yeah, honey. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Oh,
I
that
just
would...
I just helped a client this week that had the person had this romanticized need to have a partner. And I mean, it was so strong that nothing else really matters in his life. But the thing of it is that he needed the partner almost like he wasn't whole unless he had a partner.
Oh, I can relate.
And I know, we've worked with him for quite some time. And what we finally have gotten to is that in some past lifetimes, we ended up coming up with it was more than one. In one lifetime, his wife and two children, I think it was two, his wife and children were killed in a car wreck. And he feels great grief that he didn't get to say, he never told them how much they meant to him. So he carried a lot of guilt. He carried all the suffering pain of that because he didn't heal that in that lifetime. So he has carried that over along with some other instances like that in other lifetimes. So in this lifetime, it has manifested in this obsessive need that he has to have a partner. And he's not going to be okay in this life until he gets a partner. He's got to have a partner. And not only is he looking for his own self-love in an outside source by needing the partner, but it is deeper than that. He has to have a partner. So we finally figured out why that is so huge in him, because he never healed that from the past lifetime.
Oh,
Do you see?
yeah.
So that was creating this unusual behavior in him this lifetime that really didn't make a lot of sense, from what his life had been this time, why he would be so obsessed to have a partner. But when you put the past lifetime stuff with it, see, it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had guilt, he had all of this sorrow. I mean, when something happens that traumatic instantly, that is something you don't recover from very easy. And he has carried that over, and all of it was in this lifetime. So he was, since it was the new moon, he was going to release that and set his intentions that would no longer control him, that he was letting them go and he was forgiving himself so that he could move on with his life and not have that controlling him. So what I think is happening with you is kind of similar, same type of scenario, and you were feeling all of that physical pain first because your body could not let you remember this stuff because you wouldn't have been, no one would have been able to have handled that all coming up at once. Do you see?
Yeah, because they were
So,
very, very, very physical, and they've been going on for years. I mean, we're talking decades.
so what happened was, and see, you didn't know what was taking place, so you've always kind of fought it, correct?
Always fought it, absolutely, without whatever would have meant controlling my surroundings, conversations, people, as to avoid a trigger.
Yeah. So actually what was happening was your body was trying to heal stored emotion. And by you fighting it, that's why it's lasted so long, because you didn't know what else to do. I mean, anybody would fight it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you didn't know what was taking place.
Well,
if you had
crazy.
known what was taking, yep, well, of course you did. You would have felt insane because that is so traumatic to have lose control of your body like that. It's just not normal, and it's very scary. But in fact, I believe, I'm pretty sure about this, I believe that it was your body trying to heal you. So you would get triggered, which would tap into the stored emotion, but it was so intense, you would start feeling the physical sensations like a body memory, and then that would scare you so much that you would have the episodes like you described. If someone had been sitting there with you and said, it's okay, tell me what you're feeling, let's let this move, and could have directed you through it, then after, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes, you would have known how to handle it in a way and allow your body to release that out of the energy field. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And what was happening instead, because you didn't know and had no one telling you, you was restoring it because you wouldn't let it go. You were not that you didn't want to, but you were tense and you were tight, and that was holding it in your field. And that's why you would sleep for 2 days.
I haven't, because of the exhaustion that I've been working so much, I haven't been able to create another emotion other than stress.
So I really think that's what's going on. And I think that whenever one of those happens, you need to call me because I need to talk with you through it, because now you can kind of control it. It's not like it just takes you over instantly, right?
Well,
or at least today.
well, hold on.
Tell me, okay, tell me how you,
Hold on, let me go ahead and, there you go. So, does it control me? It will control me once I go into it. It won't if I don't let it. So let's just say if we're talking.
How did it come on this morning? How did it come on?
Well, this morning it's been coming on all week, but it's been kind of like holding it at bay because the ability to change emotions hasn't been there. So I haven't been able to feel anything other than the exhaustion. So this morning, how it came on is I just looked at my work and I was just, this is just hopeless. This is a bottomless pit. And once I felt that emotion, then it just went whoosh, just sucked me right in.
So you were awake?
I was awake and I was getting ready to start work. Because I started work at 7:30, and by 7:45 when I texted you, I was already
in it. So I still get that is the way that your body is releasing the stored emotions. Some people do it in their dreams, and I think you've done that some, haven't you?
I have.
And
I'm not too fond of the dreams right now. I'd rather sleep.
Most people would rather sleep because it's not. The reason I think, from my experience with people, the reason that they release emotions in their dreams, the stored emotion, is because the person is not ready to handle it consciously awake.
Well, see, when
So the body is able to help you do it in a dream.
okay, so back in the day, we're talking probably 2 decades ago.
Uh-huh.
It would happen all of it in the dreams. So I would have a really, really hard time just resting because all this terrors will come in at night. So that was a whole different issue.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually those
And
stopped.
eventually what?
Eventually those stopped as I started getting help and I started healing, getting better. Um, they stopped coming to me in my dreams.
So do you think, okay, those that you were having then, would you qualify that as in the best of your ability, a nightmare?
Nightmare. Yes.
Spirit, spirits visiting you?
Well, there were multiple, so yes, I did feel like I was getting spirits visiting me, and some the particular nightmares pertaining to the trauma, the violence, and the whole, um, physicality of it. Those I would categorize as nightmares. I did have other aspects of it where I felt spirits were there. I also felt like I had other lifetimes that I would go into, and I would go to bed, then I would go to that other life, and then I would spend a whole day there. Then I would wake up in my day, and I just worked a whole shift and I would wake up and have this lifetime to live. So that was extremely exhausting.
Well, and that could have been um, because I think you and I agree that we're probably living all the lifetimes all at once in parallel universes. You were jumping universes.
Yeah, and that
You were
sucks.
jumping. Hmm. I think that's what you were doing, and I think it was a combination. Okay, tell me this. The pain and the physical things that you felt, were you ever able to remember any trauma that they related to?
Like the pain that I felt for me, like to end
Mm-hmm.
trauma this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Yes and no. I like my trauma, I would say in the Richter scale, it'll be like a 6 or 7, but what I was feeling was like an 11 or 12. It was like
Mm-hmm.
the level of pain for what I actually experienced are completely different. I
Oh my gosh.
what?
You know why?
Why?
Remember how you segmented your soul to get in here?
Oh yeah.
It was like several lifetimes all at once.
Oh,
See, you were experiencing your
oh.
body was giving you the night dreams, terrors, nightmares to start preparing you for releasing the stored emotions. It had to get you acclimated to that much trauma because, see, you had so much. And the reason now that you're able to have more control over it, yes, because of the years, but maybe, I'm not sure, but
Oh,
maybe
no,
because we pulled your soul back together.
you're absolutely right. Because the levels have, oh, Kathy.
Did I lose you?
No, the levels are the levels, because it's not split. There's only one.
Are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Oh my
Hello?
God, I don't know what happened. It just stopped. It went on mute. Oh my God, let me tell you. Of course it did.
Of course it did.
But no, I know
Oh my gosh.
exactly what we're saying. No, you're absolutely right. Because when all that is fragmented, you're right, it's intensified. So I was feeling, let's just say, just for the sake of discussion, 3 of them at once. Once you were able to
Right.
piece it back together, and then the experience became just one experience, the
Mhm.
threshold for it is just so much lighter. Still bad, but I mean, it's just so the load is so much lighter on the pain department because I'm only experiencing
Mhm.
one experience. Oh,
Mhm.
Kathy, that's insane.
Well, and see, the rest of it is that over the lifetime, most of the traumas you've endured have common threads in them.
Yes, I do have a type.
And so in being able to, you fragmented everything, you came in, you tried to survive, trying to remember to put yourself back together. We got your soul back together. So now you're able to have more control over your body and your thoughts and your stored emotion because you have more control. You're back together.
Well, it's only a one in one dimension. I'm not
Right,
I'm not having the multiple dimensions. It's like there's no exponential factor to it.
right.
Oh, that is big.
hmm
That is
And see, that would
huge.
explain a lot of the stuff that you've had. And then us figuring out that the other day that it was a spirit talking to you and not somebody trying to take you over or that was inside of you.
Mhm.
That was your gift that you were learning to speak with spirits. That's helping too because you're finally being able to figure out who you are and what your gifts are and what is interfering with you. You know, you're able to label and put these things where they belong, understanding them better than what you've ever been able to do.
Oh